I'm currently on my road trip from Broome in the north all the way to Esperance in the south. And along that road trip through Western Australia, of course, I got to stop by Perth. And I'm going to show you some things around and in Perth that you can do if you're on a backpacker's budget. Because let's be honest, Australia is expensive. You probably just got here fresh out of school, you have no money, and you want to do some things and experience the city without getting broke in your first week, right? So let's start off with a couple of hikes that you can do when you're around Perth. Admittedly, you need a car. So let's assume you probably just bought a car and this is why you're broke already. And also I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do when you're in Perth that are either cheap and on a backpacker's budget or even for free, which is what we want, right? So let's go.
Let's kick things off with a walk around the Bell Rapids Park, around 30 to 60 minutes out of Perth, depending from where you get to Bells Rapids. Once getting there, take the bridge to cross over if you're like me and you want to have this gem mostly to yourself.
Alright, I made it to the other side, and there's not too many people around here, but I think my only goal now really is to get as far away as possible from everyone else, because it's so busy. Shouldn't have chosen this place on a public holiday day, or well, a Sunday. It's really annoying, so many people around. There's train tracks on the other side. That must be one of the most beautiful train rides ever.
Most of the way up the hill is pretty easy and can be accomplished with pretty much any fitness level.
The views are getting sick. Look at this. It's not too much left to get to the actual top, or not the actual one, but probably the highest point the pathway goes. And then we have to decide if we do a bit of a cross-country kind of thing to get to the highest point, just behind that tree. We're lucky we can actually go further up the hill over there, because this where the gate is, this is just pretty much the highest point where you can go when you have a dog with you or go biking. It's crazy to think that just about half a week ago I was still in Broome, 38 degrees, and now I'm down in Perth doing hikes here at 21, 22 degrees.
Follow the path to the actual top. Even on public holidays, I didn't meet a single soul up there.
Look at this place, this tree, this wing is broken, but anyways. And then people made a fire here. That is probably the most picture perfect, most romantic date place. Just imagine you see all the lights of the Perth skyline fading away in the dark, and then you have this place to yourself and to your loved one or the one you adore.
The top of the hill is a picture-perfect lunch spot with great views over CBD, which is just lurking in the distance. Depending on the season, everything around you is super lush and green.
Almost done with Bell Rapids walk. So to be honest, for me, too busy today because I just don't like all these people, but I got here on a Sunday, so it's pretty much my own fault. But if you want to enjoy this, and if you want to see something that's just about half an hour outside Perth, which is nothing in Australian distance standards, you gotta come here. It's beautiful. It is for free. If you walk a little further up the hill, then even on a busy day like today, there's no one around, and the rapids are awesome. They look great. If you're in Perth and you just want to get away from the hustle and bustle, out of the city, come here. It's really nice.
Next one on the list is just about a 30 minutes drive from Bells Rapids and is called the Lesmurdie Brook Loop.
Another great little hike or walk, if you feel like you need a little getaway from Perth, is the Lesmurdie or Lemurdie, if it's French, I don't know, loop trek, which is just about 30 minutes outside of Perth, and it's along a little river, and also it has some waterfalls which we're going to check out soonish. It's so beautiful. Those different kind of trees, and then you have a lot of little like palm trees and ferns around.
When I got there, the walk along the little river was again super busy, so I chose to take a little detour to the hilltop and promptly got my reward.
It seems there's a valid chance that we can actually see the waterfalls from here, because I can see some of it already. Ah, this is so cool. Look, it's pretty much the same view, just from the other side, but there's no one here. There's like 100 people down there, so it's just so much better here.
Les Moody Falls are spectacular from any angle, so don't worry if you don't feel fit enough to get to the top. Just do the easy walk to the viewing platform and indulge in the sight of the more than 100 meters tall Les Moody Falls. It doesn't matter if from the top or from the bottom, Les Moody Falls are definitely a sight to see if you're around Perth. But we're not done with great walks around Perth yet.
Alright, next hiking trail on the list is the Rocky Pool Circuit Track. And it's in the Kalamunda, I guess it's Kalamunda National Park. And nature-wise, it looks a little different to the last one we did. It's less green, it's more rocks and stuff. But also there's no one around, even though it's public holidays. And it's only 10 minutes away from the last track. So it's pretty easy to do both in one day. And apparently, as the name says, this track ends up at something that's called the Rocky Pool. Isn't this amazing? It looks like you've been hundreds of kilometers out of Perth. But we're not, just half an hour or so.
The Rocky Pool circuit is lovely, and depending on which way you go, it feels very untouched. Since this track is ending at Rocky Pool, which has been a common swimming spot for Perth citizens for decades now, better bring some swimwear. But be aware, it's easy to get lost in the Kalamunda Park if leaving the main tracks.
So there's a couple of more cool things about this walk. So one is you'll find these hollow nuts everywhere, and they're actually the remains of the feeding of some of the cockatoos that you have here, which is the red-tailed black cockatoo and the white-tailed black cockatoo. And apparently they like to feed on these nuts which grow here. And you hear their screeches sometimes, but I haven't seen the actual cockatoo, but I know what they look like. And also what's nice, they have little signs here, like this one about the history of this actual place. But there's also other signs explaining the plants and explaining the wildlife and all these kind of things. And I find it so nice because it's essentially just like a bushwalk here, but they take the efforts to put up these signs so people can just like read through when they're foreigners and they don't know anything about the place.
No matter if Rocky Pool, Les Moody Falls, Bells Rapids or Noble Falls, there's plenty of great walking around Perth. But even in the CBD, the Botanic Garden offers a great little escape into nature for free, while it's granting you awesome views on the Perth CBD.
So I'm finally in Perth, kind of in the center at City Beach. And why am I here? Here comes my backpacker tip. If you're in Perth, City Beach has hot free showers. And on a day like today, you really need them because look outside. It's rainy, it's windy, but that is no problem for us today because what I actually planned for today is going to Fremantle, or as the people here say, Frio, to check out some of the things that they have there.
Being the oldest part of Perth, Fremantle offers nice architecture and a few nice museums, like the Shipwreck Museum and the Maritime Museum. I chose to give the Shipwreck Museum a shot, which is donation-based and therefore very budget-friendly. While not being pretty big, the museum gives you plenty of interesting insight into the important role that seafaring played in Australian modern history. Enough culture and history. Let's give Gage Road's brewery a visit and taste some great beers while, at least in summer, watch plenty of ships pass by. Fremantle is Perth's in-quarter, so if you have more time than me, spend some roaming around the Fremantle streets and check out some more bars at night. Or if you're a bit of a foodie, check out Fremantle markets like I did with my friends Abby and Jake, who I worked with in my time in Broome. Since you're in the area, give the Fremantle prison a visit. Tours run all day, but if you don't want to spend money on that, you can still learn a lot by checking out the little exhibitions in the forecourt for free. One thing though, you just have to spend money on when in Perth, and that's the ferry ride over to Rottnest Island, which is around $90.
Alright, after a bumpy ass ride, I'm finally on Rottnest Island. Most of the people actually hire a bike to get around, but walking from the pier to Bathurst Lighthouse, it's only about 5 minutes or so. Alright, made it to the next beach. You can see how this is super inviting in summer when it's actually warm. But right now, I don't really get how these people get into the water because I feel so cold and I'm wearing a hoodie. And the water can't be warm because they're just coming out of winter. So I'm really unsure if I'm going to do any snorkeling or any diving or any swimming today on Rottnest. Find out, maybe it gets a little hotter and I can just like jump over my own shadow and get into the water, but right now I can't.
I kept walking along the northern coast of Rottnest all the way to the little Parakeet Bay, which I had heard was a bit of a hidden gem. That's usually not too busy and I should not be disappointed. If you're looking for some snorkeling or swimming, Little Parakeet Bay would be my tip. Next up was a 3-kilometer walk to the Wajamup Lighthouse.
Alright, almost there. One last bit, one last incline, and then we made it.
Be smarter than me and look up the tour times, as I got there too late, and also be prepared to pay $15 admission fee to tackle the 38-meter tall tower. Slightly disappointed, I walked all the way back to the settlement, encountering some local wildlife along the way.
So I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I think we found ourselves one of Rottnest's dangerous snakes, a dugite, even though this is a very small one. These are potentially lethal. If so, it is a baby. But don't be fooled, even though they're small, they can still kill you.
I spent some more time with taking pictures of Rottnest's signature animal, the quokka, before heading back on a ferry. My verdict on Rottnest? It's beautiful. Pristine beaches, crystal clear water, and of course the quokkas await you. However, be prepared that a trip to Rottnest might hit your wallet hard, as the ferry ride is only one thing. Bike rental, snorkeling rental, as well as food and drinks can easily set you back about $150 or more. Is it worth it in the end? I say it is, because how often will you be able to make a selfie with a marsupial that always smiles? And that's it for now. There's plenty of things to do for you when you're in Perth on a budget.
Right, you're still here. Okay, here's your reward. Every Thursday in the Mustang Bar in Perth CBD from 6 PM, you'll get a burger and a beer for $5. Have fun with that one.